Hello guys and gals, so I'm doing something a little different. I'm going to do pick a card reading. So as you can see, we've got three piles here. We've got pile number one, pile number two, and pile number three. So I'm assuming most people know how a pick a pile works, pick a card reading. You pick the ones that you're drawn to. So, take your time, take a few moments, breathe in and decide which one you think that you were guided to. Now, you may be guided to more than one. That's absolutely fine. You can pick two, you can pick all three if you really feel like you've got a message in amongst all three of these piles. But ultimately, one thing we do have to remember with the pick a card readings is that they are collective. Like all collectives, you need to take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But if you find that there's a message in all three, it might be a mixture. It might be that there's a mixture of a few messages for you that makes a reading feel personal to you. So bear that in mind when picking the card. And yeah, so if you've had enough time to pick, let's get on with it. So this is for pile one, guys. Now, what I'm getting for you guys, I've got a couple of different narratives going on. So I'm gonna say them both because I do feel like it's all relevant and it might resonate for someone. So I feel like for those that are kind of wanting a bit of a love reading, this is talking about a connection that potentially hasn't been going anywhere. And it's a bit of guidance on that one. So if you've got a connection where you are not feeling like there's much happening, you're not seeing much movement, you're not seeing much progress, you're seeing like you feel like you're stuck in a rut, you feel like you're stuck in a dynamic, like you're giving more to the connection, they aren't giving back to it. And it's almost like flogging a dead horse, then you might find that this reading resonates. We've got a very significant, like an obvious, slow-paced energy here with this. We've got the Knight of Crystals. That's instantly, straight off the bat, slow-moving. But it's also, an energy of kind of being practical, learning, taking things in as well. So I do feel like with the Knight of Pentacles straight away, what we've got here is somebody who's teaching you things and somebody who's shaping you in certain ways. Now, it could be that they are teaching you how to draw boundaries. It could be that they are teaching you in other ways as well, but ultimately they're teaching you something. With the Five of Crystals, this is a lack energy. You don't see what you're getting from this, but actually what you are getting is you're coming into alignment. You're getting kind of a wealth of knowledge about things. And with the Seven of Crystals, I'm feeling like this is, again, like something that you're kind of sowing the seeds for it. But I'm also getting really strong spiritual vibes from it. Really strong kind of, it's not that it's necessarily a spiritual connection. It's not necessarily that it's brought you to spirituality, but it's definitely showing you, it's highlighting elements of your soul, Spirit's saying to me right now. I also think this person grounds you. This person really, really grounds you. And that's another reason why you don't want to let them go. Maybe there's a little bit of codependency. We've got inevitability and we've got abundance. So your persistence in this connection will pay off. It's just that you've got to let some things go first. There is some codependency that you have to move through. There is some codependency that you have to work on. And there is an element of you having to let go of this person somewhat so that you can eventually see, where it is. Like, basically, they are highlighting your self-worth and it's kind of taking you to a place of doing some inner work, even if you aren't realizing. But at the same time, you are getting frustrated with the lack of kind of consistency. And it's funny because I've got a wall here and it's got like loads of like posters and stickers and postcards and all sorts on it. And I've got like a rose that I'm really drawn to on this wall, just here. just here with this rose here. So that to me is saying about an offer coming in with this person. The other narrative that's coming through with this reading could be for those that are looking at something that shapes their career or their purpose, their life purpose, what they're going to do for a living. Like it's something that's probably I'm hearing spirituality, so it could be Reiki. I'm looking at that and I'm seeing Reiki. I'm seeing meditation. Like you could be down a path with regards to a purpose or how you're going to make money for a living, and it's linked in with spirituality in some way. And you know, I do feel like you are again in this situation exactly like with the love side of this reading. You are feeling a little bit like you're flogging a dead horse. You might have trained in a lot of varied different areas, but you're not seeing it all come together. And I'm just really seeing that you might be losing hope a little bit. Now, what I'm seeing also with the cards is that it has got there is abundance to be unlocked here with the abundance card. It's inevitable. You're just seeing slow progress, but what Spirit's saying to me is that you have had to have this slow progress in order to achieve everything you've achieved, in order to train, in order to learn, in order to really pull it all together and tie it all together. So please trust that it will come together when the time is right. I don't feel like there's much more I need to say on that reading, that the career part of this. I feel like the message is just a short, sharp one for those that are looking for kind of purpose messages. It is that trust that it's going to come into alignment. Trust that it's going to be great when it does fall through. It's just that at the moment you are still training, you are still learning. Next one. So if you picked a pile 2, which was the crystal, this is definitely a love reading, and this is very interesting actually because it does feel a lot like we have got a situation at hand where you have been betrayed by this person. You are probably in a connection where somebody has done you wrong, they've done you foul, they've hurt you, they might have rejected your, Spirit saying they have done something that has really kind of spited you, and you're just not happy with them. You don't want to give to this connection anymore, and you've decided to walk away. But the problem is you can't stop thinking about them. You can't get them out of your mind. You do want to be with them. I'm hearing Spirit say, I'm sorry. So they are sorry. I'm also hearing Spirit saying, please think about me. I've got a soft spot for you. Like, it's somebody who really wants to kind of open up to you, but they might not be very emotionally available, or they might not really do very well with telling people how they really feel. Like, it's the use of the words, I've got a soft spot for you, that makes me think that they beat around the bush with saying how they really feel. Like, they maybe, and that's probably been one of the problems in your connection in the past. I do think that you might be surprised to hear, but there is union for this connection. We've got a union card. There is victory to be had. There is a destined course here, and you know, we've got a lot of cards here that point to progress being made. You've manifested, you're going to manifest something in, but there does need to be forgiveness to this connection. We've got forgiven, we've got choices. You are at the moment probably standing in a bit of ego, and do you know what? Rightly so. If you've been left in the cold, if you've had a difficult time in this connection and this person has let you down over and over again, there is going to be some elements of you that's not going to want to forgive them. And I think sometimes when people get to the stage of moving on, it's usually because they've had absolutely enough. And it feels like that here. Like, you've had enough, but you just keep getting drawn back in. And I do feel like what's important to know is you've made that decision to move away and you've not been able to do so. So when that's your sign enough from Spirit that you need to take there needs to be a different method put into place. If you're struggling with that, that's when you need to try something new because it's not working. And I feel like this is something that's been going on for months. Like, I do feel like you guys have been not in contact for like months now at this point. And I would say you're going to be asked to forgive them. And we've got the bravery card here at the end. And the reason why that's there is because sometimes forgiveness takes a level of vulnerability, and it's just the way it is. Sometimes you have to be vulnerable. Sometimes you have to be made to look a fool. If you're forgiving somebody, sometimes you're made to look a fool. And I feel like that in itself, to sit down and say, I forgive that person, I'm going to open up myself to being made to look vulnerable and made to look a fool, that is bravery. That is really true bravery. And I feel like that's what you've got to do at this point with this connection. And what you're probably going to see is that in itself turns the wheel of, cause and effect, the natural order of the universe, and actually makes this person in turn come into a place where they feel like they might be able to be vulnerable, or where they feel like they can give something back to you. So it's basically like, sometimes you just have to rip the band-aid off, or maybe that's the wrong term of phrase really, but like sometimes you just have to do it, and you have to just say, do you know what, I'm proud of myself because I chose to be authentic, and I chose love, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's such a brave thing to do, and it's such an uncommon thing nowadays because everybody's so cautious about how they're made to look, or if it makes them vulnerable, does it make them look stupid? And there's so much ego that in itself is such a power move. And I feel like that's where you're being guided to, pile 2. So, pile 3, you guys have got communication coming in. Woohoo! So, for you guys, you are probably in a situation in which, again, maybe they've moved away from you, or you've moved away from them, and you've had a bit of a break. But with the revisit card, it's coming back round. I do feel like with it being the revisit card, it's somebody that's from your past, or it's somebody that's from your recent past, or somebody that you've lost contact with. And I do get that it's a romantic interest, but it can also apply to those that maybe, have lost contact with family or friends, and there's some kind of communication coming in there. But ultimately, I do feel like these are more love readings than anything else. Now, we've got leveling up, which is very interesting, and self-love. So I feel like one of the real key things that has been such a problem in this connection, that's probably caused it to maybe fizzle out, or caused you to have to learn some lessons around rejection and codependency, is a lack of self-love. Like, you've maybe been the sort of person that really beats yourself up a lot. Like, you probably do get yourself down about it doesn't have to be about your looks, but it could be about you as a person. Like, you might berate yourself when you do something that you deem to be not acceptable or not socially acceptable. You might not like certain elements of yourself or certain traits, or wish you was a certain way. Like, maybe you wish you were more confident, maybe you wished you were less confident. Like, sometimes people can talk too much. Like, I know I do, and I'm like, oh god, I wish I wish I knew when to shut up. So, either way, there's something about yourself. You've been quite hard on yourself. You pick yourself apart, and basically you've had to come to a place where you potentially have lost this person because of it, or you've had to end things with this person because your self-love is just not there. And it could have been this person is being guided spiritually by spirit to end it with you, or you them, so that you can work on this away from the connection. Or it could have been that they've come to a place where they are like, do you know what, I just cannot take this insecurity anymore. Like, I do feel like for some, there's been a relationship here where you've maybe been very insecure about that person being around other females, or other males, whatever it is you resonate with, whatever it is you associate with. It's this person you're very, very insecure in a relationship, is what I'm feeling, or you have been in the past. You're very, very insecure in yourself, and you really had to sit in your own shit and look at who you are as a person and say, do you know what? why am I doing this? Why am I feeling like I'm not good enough for this person? Because honestly, I am. And that's been a powerful place that you've had to come to. But because you've done this, because you've got this respect for yourself now, and you're showing you a new like confidence, I do feel like you've drawn this person back in some way. So it could be that you energetically have drawn them in. It could be that you're posting your new sexy selfies to social media and they're kind of like, oh, okay, this is different. But either way, you've drawn them back in and they're coming in with rapid fire communication with the Eight of Wands. They want to talk to you. They want to restore balance, this connection, because I do feel like this person has really, really missed you. I feel like when things ended between you guys, they'd had enough. So I do feel like for some, they have been pushed. And they've had this break from you. And at first it was like, okay, now I feel like I've got some freedom. And then it was like, okay, now I feel like I'm empty. And they've had to do soul searching as well, because they've had to figure out what it is that's making them feel empty. And I know that most of them would have known it was you, but some of them would have probably have convinced themselves that the relationship was wrong because of how it was, that they wouldn't believe initially that the thing causing them to feel emptiness was you. And I get the impression that this person really suffered with some depression, and they probably did lose quite a significant part of themselves in this depression. And, you know, they sat with themselves and said, oh my God, like, I don't like listening to music anymore. I don't feel fulfilled by anything. I don't feel happy. When was the last time I felt happy? And I think that in itself, that exploration process has allowed them to say, oh, it was when I was with my ex, or it was when I was with my counterpart. Like, they realised it was you. And, you know, I feel like they inserted you into everything that they did in separation. And, you know, imagined that if you were with them, how would they feel about it? And that was when they really started to realise that it was you all along. And I do think they kind of spiraled at they'd done some spiraling, and because they'd done some spiraling and kind of hit a place where they were quite down and were quite depressed, they weren't in a place to come forward sooner. But now you've done the work, they've done the work, you're both in a more balanced energy, you can restore balance in this connection, you are in alignment, you can have your happily ever after. So yeah, so that is all I've got for that pick a card reading, guys. I do hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see more of these, because I did enjoy doing this. And yeah, let me know as well, like, what pile did you pick? What was the messages that resonated the most? Thanks for watching, and goodbye.